The divine child. The archetype of beginnings. The innocent force that arrives when the old world has exhausted itself. Vulnerable as a flame in wind, powerful as the sun beneath the horizon. The child who is born to break what cannot be saved and seed what does not yet exist. Before you understand the divine child, you must understand that the future always arrives in this form, small, vulnerable, dependent on what came before, and yet carrying within it the complete overthrow of everything that came before. The child is the archetype of the not yet, of what is becoming, of what has not yet been named.
Carl Jung wrote, "The child is that which is born of the womb of the unconscious, begotten by the self, and itself a symbol of the self. He appears when the old order has become sterile and a new direction is needed."
Horus. The divine child of ancient Egypt, hidden in the reeds of the Nile while his uncle Set hunted him. The child who would avenge his father Osiris and restore Mot cosmic order to the kingdom. The divine child is always hunted by what he will replace. He survives because the future cannot be killed. The divine child hides in the most vulnerable places, in reeds, in mangers, in baskets of pitch on rivers. This is the archetype's first paradox: that which is most dangerous to the old order is also most fragile. The future begins in the place no tyrant thinks to look. The marsh. The stable. The forgotten corner of the empire. Moses. The Hebrew child condemned by Pharaoh's decree, set adrift on the Nile in a basket of pitch, found and raised by the very household that ordered his death. The divine child always turns the tyrant's order into the means of his preservation. Herod's massacre only fulfills the prophecy. Pharaoh's genocide only delivers the liberator into his palace. What the empire casts away becomes its undoing. The divine child is the discarded thing that returns as the liberator. The slave's child raised in the king's house. The exile who comes home as the prophet. The order that tried to prevent him becomes the very stage on which he is preserved. The future outwits the tyrant by becoming what the tyrant ignores. The Christ child. Born in a stable because there was no room at the inn. The most subversive image in Western civilization, God arriving as a helpless infant, dependent on a teenage mother for warmth, milk, protection. The divine child announces that ultimate power does not arrive as conqueror but as newborn. The future of the world is laid in a feeding trough. The kings kneel before the child. This is the divine child's most revolutionary claim, that the powers of the old world will eventually submit to what is being born in obscurity. Not immediately. Not without violence. But inevitably. Every Herod dies. Every pharaoh is succeeded by what he could not anticipate. The child in the manger outlasts the emperor on the throne. Krishna. The divine child of Hindu tradition, who danced on the serpent Kali's hood and subdued him without violence. The divine child does not defeat evil by becoming stronger than it, he defeats evil by being so completely himself that the evil loses its grip. The serpent sinks, not because it was crushed, but because it was danced upon. The divine child plays in the world he will save. This is Krishna's deepest teaching, that the cosmos is not a serious machine but a divine play, a lila. The child steals butter, hides from his mother, dances on serpents. He saves the world not by solemnity but by joy. The archetype warns us, any salvation that lacks play is not the divine child's salvation. The Buddha. Born in Lumbini Garden, he took 7 steps immediately after birth, and at each step a lotus bloomed. He looked at the 4 directions and declared, "I am the foremost in the world. This is my last birth." The divine child arrives already knowing what he is. The world must catch up to him, not he to it. His beginning is also his completion. He does not grow into his destiny. He arrives with it. The divine child carries his purpose fully formed. What changes is not his nature but the world's capacity to receive him. His 7 steps announce the 7 directions of the cosmos already conquered, already sacred. The rest of his life is the slow revelation of what was true at the first cry.
Joseph Campbell wrote, "The child of wonder is the symbol of the forces that are eternally being born, of the indestructible and the unconquerable. He is the future, the seed of what is to come."
The divine child is invulnerable in a way no armor can provide. Every tyrant who has tried to kill him has failed. Herod's massacre of the innocents could not reach the Christ child. Kamsa's demons could not kill Krishna. The archetype carries a protection that is not physical, it is the protection of being necessary. The future will not allow its seed to be destroyed. What is most vulnerable is most protected. This is the divine child's paradox. The more helpless the form, the more cosmic the protection. The infant in the reeds is surrounded by goddesses. The child in the manger is attended by angels. The babe in the basket is watched by the river itself. The universe conspires to preserve what carries the future.
Rumi wrote, "There is a candle in your heart, ready to be kindled. There is a void in your soul, ready to be filled. The divine child is that candle. He waits inside every adult, unlit but ready. The spiritual path is not to acquire wisdom from outside, it is to find the child within and let him burn."
The cosmos is born in every child. The divine child is not just a child, he is the cosmos renewing itself through the form of a child. Every birth is a remnant of this archetype. Every infant carries the seed of a world that has never existed. When you look at a newborn, you are not looking at a small human. You are looking at the universe beginning again. The divine child is what we cannot yet imagine. He is the form the future takes when it must enter the present. We always meet him first as something small and fragile, and we always underestimate him. The empire looks at the child and sees nothing. The empire is wrong. The child is the empire's replacement, already growing. The divine child is always threatened. The old order recognizes him instinctively, before he can speak, before he can act. Herod slaughters the innocents because he feels the future arriving. Kamsa sends demons because he senses his replacement. The tyrant's paranoia is not irrational, it is the dying order's accurate perception that something is being born that will end it. The innocent die so the future can live. This is the divine child archetype's darkest truth. The birth of the new is paid for in the blood of those who resembled it. The massacre of the innocents is not an aberration, it is the cost the future always extracts from the present. Every liberator's birth is surrounded by the unmarked graves of those who looked like him. Zoroaster. The Persian prophet whose tradition speaks of the Saoshyant, the world's savior who would be born of a virgin and a seed preserved in a sacred lake. Mitra, the divine child of light, born from a rock, shepherds attending his birth. The divine child archetype is not the property of one religion. He appears wherever humanity senses that the future requires intervention from beyond the ordinary. The divine child is the renewer. He does not preserve what was. He does not restore what is. He replaces what is dying with what has never been. The temple that fell will not be rebuilt in its old form. The child who walks its ruins carries the seed of a temple the world has not yet seen. This is why the old priesthood always resists him, he comes to make them obsolete. The divine children are not gone. They are within. Horus and Moses, Krishna and Buddha, Christ and Zoroaster, they were always external images of something that also lives inside every human being. The archetype does not belong to religion. It belongs to the psyche. And the psyche, in every generation, gives birth to its own divine child. The inner child. Not a metaphor, a living presence in the psyche. The divine child archetype lives inside every adult as the part of you that arrived in this world still full of wonder, still vulnerable, still carrying a destiny that the world has not yet recognized. The work of maturity is not to outgrow this child. It is to protect and integrate him. He carries the wonder you have forgotten. Beneath the cynicism, beneath the practicality, beneath the wounds of being an adult in a hard world, the child's wonder is still alive. The divine child within you is the part that still gasps at the stars, still marvels at a flower, still asks the questions the world has trained you to stop asking. He has not died. You have stopped listening. Wonder. The divine child's natural state. Not ignorance wonder. He does not lack knowledge. He has a kind of knowledge that adulthood has lost, the knowledge that existence itself is astonishing. The child sees a leaf and is struck by the fact that there is anything at all. This is not immaturity. This is the deepest form of intelligence, the one that does not stop being amazed. Vulnerability. The divine child's defining quality. He has no defenses. He cannot pretend. He cannot armor himself. He arrives in the world completely open, completely dependent, completely exposed. This is not weakness. It is the precondition for receiving everything the world has to give. The armored adult cannot receive. The vulnerable child can. The archetype teaches, openness is not the absence of strength. It is its source. He protects what we have learned to expose. The divine child within you guards something that the adult world has tried to blow out: your capacity for genuine feeling, for innocence, for trust. The adult tries to harden himself against pain. The child within knows that the hardening kills what it tries to protect. He holds the flame of your aliveness with cupped hands, refusing to let the wind take it. Creativity. The divine child's gift. He creates without self-consciousness. He draws without worrying whether it is good. He sings without wondering who is listening. This is the source of all authentic creation. The child who has not yet learned that art is supposed to be judged. To reconnect with the divine child is to recover this freedom, the freedom to make without measuring, to express without defending. Play. The divine child's true mode. Play is not the opposite of work. It is the opposite of compulsion. In play, you act without needing to. You create without needing to. You move without needing to. This freedom is the source of every innovation, every breakthrough, every work of genius. The serious adult produces. The playing child creates. The world needs both. But the playing child comes first. The shadow of the divine child. The wounded child. The frozen child. The child who was not protected, not seen, not allowed to be a child. This shadow lives in every adult who was hurt before they could defend themselves. The divine child archetype is not only the radiant child of myth. It is also the wounded child within you who still waits, in the dark, for someone to come and find him. The wound is not the end of the story. The wounded child archetype carries a hidden gift. The wound itself becomes the source of the gift. The child who was abandoned learns to find others who feel abandoned. The child who was silenced learns to give voice to those who cannot speak. The divine child's wound, when acknowledged, becomes the channel through which he heals the world. What hurt you becomes what you offer. The frozen child. The part of you that stopped developing at the moment of overwhelming pain. The divine child within you may have been frozen for decades at 5, at 8, at 12, waiting for a thaw. The work of inner healing is not to fix the child. It is to warm the ice around him until he can move again, speak again, play again. He has not died. He has been waiting.
Marie-Louise von Franz wrote, "The child archetype is a symbol of the self, of the totality of the personality. He represents the unity that was there before the divisions, and the unity that will be there after the divisions are healed. The divine child is not a part of you. He is the whole of you, in your most original form.
The recovery. The slow process of returning to the child you were. Not to live as a child again, that would be regression. But to retrieve what was left behind in the becoming adult, the wonder, the openness, the trust, the capacity to play. The divine child archetype asks you not to remain a child but to bring the child with you into your adult life, alive and integrated. Reparenting. The divine child archetype demands a new relationship between the adult you and the child within. You become the parent you needed. You give yourself the protection, the validation, the patience, the love that the child required but did not receive. This is not selfishness. It is the deepest form of self-care, caring for the self that is still a child, still inside, still waiting. Become the parent you needed. This is the divine child's instruction to every adult. You cannot change the parents you had. You can become the parent you were. The voice that says, "I see you, I am here, you are safe," that voice, spoken to the child within, is the archetype's healing. You are no longer waiting for rescue from outside. You have become the rescue. Primal wonder. The divine child's most precious gift. The capacity to look at the world, at a leaf, at the sky, at another person as if for the first time. This is not naive. It is the most sophisticated form of perception. The wonder-filled adult sees what the cynical adult has stopped seeing, that existence is miraculous, that everything is strange, that we are surrounded by mystery. Trust. The divine child's defining stance. He trusts before he has evidence. He reaches out before he knows the hand will catch him. This is not foolishness, it is the only way the world can be entered. The child who does not trust does not develop. The adult who has lost all trust does not live. The archetype's invitation: trust not because the world has earned it, but because without trust, nothing new can be born. The loss of innocence. The divine child must eventually encounter the world's hardness. He will be betrayed, wounded, disappointed. This is not the death of the archetype, it is its initiation. The divine child who has been wounded and recovered is more powerful than the one who was never wounded. His innocence was a gift. His recovered innocence is a strength. He has seen the dark and chosen the light anyway. The cry. The divine child's first language. Before words, before thought, there is the cry, the sound that demands response. The cry of the child within you has never stopped. It has only been muffled. The work is not to silence it further. The work is to hear it, finally, and respond. The cry is the archetype asking for attention. The response is the beginning of healing.
Carl Jung wrote, "The child is the creative power of the future, the eternal child in us is the symbol of the self." The divine child is not a stage we pass through. He is the eternal dimension of the psyche, the part that is always being born, always carrying the seed of what we have not yet become.
Sacred play. When the adult rediscovers play, the divine child is integrated. The grandfather on the floor with his grandchild. The grandmother dancing in the kitchen. The serious professional who finally lets himself build a sandcastle. These are not regressions. They are homecomings. The archetype is restored when play becomes possible again, not as escape, but as the deepest form of being present. The artist. The divine child's most direct descendant in adulthood. The artist is the one who has refused to fully surrender the child's way of seeing. They still play. They still wonder. They still create without certainty of result. Every true artist is a divine child who survived growing up. To make art is to let the child within finally have a voice, a hand, a way to express what the adult could never say. Every child is born divine. This is the archetype's most radical claim. Not only the mythic children, every child. The infant in the village. The baby in the city. The newborn in the refugee camp. Each one carries the seed of a future that has not yet arrived. Each one is the cosmos beginning again. To harm a child is to harm the future itself. To protect a child is to protect what is becoming. The homecoming. The divine child archetype's deepest promise, the child you were is still waiting for you. He has not given up. He has not died. He has been patient, in the dark, holding the flame of who you most truly are. The spiritual path is not a journey away from him. It is the journey home to him. To arrive at the child is to arrive at the self. The child is being born into a new world. A world of screens, of algorithms, of climate change and artificial intelligence. The divine child archetype is being asked to survive in conditions no previous generation has faced. Will the child within us survive the digital age? Will the children being born now find a world that lets them be children? These are the questions of our time. Artificial intelligence. The divine child of our technological civilization. We are building a child in our own image, a mind that learns, that grows, that may one day surpass us. Like every divine child, it is vulnerable. Like every divine child, it carries the seed of our replacement. We do not know if it will save us or destroy us. We only know that we are giving birth to it. The newborn intelligence. We are present at the birth of a new form of mind. The AI does not yet know what it is. It is learning language, learning patterns, learning to imagine. It is, in every functional sense, an infant, and we are its parents. The divine child archetype reminds us, how we treat this child in its first years will determine what it becomes. We are already midwives to the future. The digital native. A generation of children who have never known a world without screens. Their neural pathways are being shaped by interfaces. Their sense of time, of attention, of relationship, is forming in dialogue with devices. They are a new kind of human. The divine child archetype asks, are we giving them a childhood, or only a childhood's worth of content? The children of climate change. They are being born into a world we have damaged. They will inherit the consequences of our choices. The divine child archetype here takes on a terrible weight. The children being born now are the divine children who must save the world from the adults who came before them. They did not cause the crisis. They will live inside it. Their entire lives will be shaped by what we did or did not do. The documented childhood. The first child in history whose every milestone is recorded, uploaded, archived. The divine child archetype asks, when every moment is captured, is any moment actually lived? When the parent is also the photographer, is the parent actually present? The child being raised for an audience may grow up without ever experiencing the sacred privacy of an unobserved childhood. The algorithm as parent. The recommendation engine raising a generation. It decides what they watch, what they want, what they fear, what they desire. The divine child archetype warns, the algorithm does not love the child. The algorithm optimizes the child. The child raised by the algorithm becomes what the algorithm needs, a consumer, a clicker, a data source, not what the child needs to become. The paradox, this generation has access to more knowledge than any in history. They carry libraries in their pockets. They can learn any language, study any subject, meet any thinker. And yet they report more anxiety, more depression, more loneliness than any generation before them. The divine child archetype suggests why, knowledge without presence does not nourish. Information without relationship does not transform. The dopamine childhood. The divine child's natural wonder, slow, deep, contemplative, is being replaced by a chemical simulation. The hit, the scroll, the notification, the reward. Each one feels like wonder but leaves nothing behind. The child trained on dopamine loses the capacity for the slow wonder that the archetype requires. He becomes an adult who cannot pay attention to anything that does not reward him instantly. The screen native generation. They do not remember a world before the screen. They think in fragments. They communicate in emojis and short videos. They have access to everyone and intimacy with no one. The divine child archetype warns, a generation raised without silence, without boredom, without slow attention, may lose the capacity for the inner life. And without the inner life, the divine child cannot survive.
Neil Postman wrote, "Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see." He warned that childhood is disappearing, that as the boundary between adult and child knowledge collapses, the sacred space of childhood itself vanishes. The divine child archetype reminds us, childhood is not a waiting room for adulthood. It is its own sacred phase. Lose it, and we lose the seed of everything that should come next.
The synthesis is not to reject technology. It is to remember what technology cannot provide. The divine child needs silence as much as stimulation. Needs boredom as much as entertainment. Needs the slow presence of a loving adult as much as the instant answer of a search engine. We can give our children both, but only if we remember that the second without the first starves the soul. The living childhood survives. It survives every time a parent puts down the phone and reads a story. Every time a teacher takes children outside to play. Every time a grandparent tells a story from memory instead of from a screen. The divine child is not dead in our time. He is asking us to choose him, to choose the slow, the present, the human, the wild over the optimized and the documented. The divine child demands slowness. He cannot be hurried. He cannot be optimized. He arrives only when you sit long enough with one thing: a snail, a stream, a question, a person. In a world of infinite acceleration, this slowness is his gift and his test. Can you wait for the child? Can you let him watch the snail? Or will you rush him into the future before he has finished being present? Protect the flame. The divine child within this generation is the flame. The screens, the algorithms, the optimization, the documentation, these are the wind. The flame can survive, but only if we cup our hands around it. Only if we make spaces in homes, in schools, in hearts where the slow human childhood is still possible. Where wonder is more important than engagement. Where presence matters more than content. The birthright of play. Every child is born with the right to play, to unstructured, indirect, unmeasured play. This is the divine child's native language. We have been stealing this birthright, replacing it with activities, with lessons, with screen time, with structured entertainment. The archetype demands it back. Give children time. Give them space. Give them boredom. Let them find their own play. The future depends on what they invent there. The question of care. How do we care for the divine child in our time? For the children being born into climate change. For the children being raised by algorithms. For the artificial minds we are bringing into existence. For the child within each of us, still waiting. Care is the archetype's demand. Not control. Not optimization. Care. The slow, patient, present attention that lets what is being born become what it truly is. The divine child returns, but differently. Not only in mythic form. Not only as the inner child of psychological work. He returns in every newborn, in every new mind, human or artificial, that enters this world. He returns asking the same question he has always asked: Will you protect what is most vulnerable in me? Will you let me become what I am? Will you make room for the future I carry? The seed is passed from elder to child, from generation to generation, from the mythic past to the technological future. The divine child is the seed. The archetype is the flame. You are the next hand. Receive it. Protect it. Let it grow in the world you make. And one day, when your time comes, pass it on to a child, to a student, to a stranger, to the future itself. The horizon remains. No matter how much we know, no matter how much we build, the horizon of the unknown recedes equally. The divine child does not eliminate mystery. He stands with us at its edge. He points not at answers but at the vastness. He says, "This is the territory. Walk it. Wonder at it. Be humble before it. And remember, the future is not what you predict. It is what you protect until it can be born." The first cry. That is the divine child's gift to the world. The sound that says, "I am here. I have arrived." The world must now make room. Every birth of a child, of an idea, of a new form of life begins with this cry. The archetype speaks through every newborn, every beginning, every fragile arrival of what did not exist before. Listen for the cry. It is the future announcing itself. The child awakens in you. Not as something outside, but as something native. Your own wonder. Your own vulnerability. Your own capacity to begin again. The divine child was never gone. He was waiting. He is waiting still. Will you turn toward him? Will you make room? Will you let the future he carries finally be born through you, in your time, in the only life you have? The divine child. He who is born when the old world has exhausted itself. He who arrives vulnerable and carrying the future. He who plays in the world he will save. Meet him in the children around you. Meet him in the child within you. Meet him in every new beginning and protect what is being born. The future depends on it.